What's up, guys? Welcome to Chaos Gates. I finally completed my Odd Eyes deck. I know this deck was highly requested by many people over YouTube, so I'm going to tell you the best way to use this deck, at least in my opinion. So without further ado, let's go in with the deck profile. Starting off with 3 Odd Eyes Arc Pendulum Dragon. This card is absolutely insane. This literally is the deck. Like, you destroy an Odd Eyes card, you can special summon any Odd Eyes from a hand deck or graveyard. Anytime you can destroy it, your opponent can destroy it. It's just amazing. 3 Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, because this card, it's an Odd Eyes deck. You can't have an Odd Eyes deck without Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon. I'm really not going to explain him. You guys already know what he does. 3 Odd Eyes Persona Dragon, because he negates monsters that were special summoned from the extra deck, and not only that, he's also your main low scale. He's a scale 1. And 3 Astrograph Sorcerer, because Astrograph Sorcerer is what makes the deck a lot more faster. Search and special summon. You could also use Chronograph Sorcerer in this build, or even use both. I'm not going to use Chronograph Sorcerer. Like, this guy is actually ban worthy. This guy might get banned or limited. So, if he does, you could just switch out for the Chronographs, because this guy is just mainly for the Electromites, but you could just use 3 of this guys until then. And that's for the triples. Now for the doubles, we have 2 Perform Pal Odd Eyes Dissolver. This helps you get your Odd Eyes Vortex a lot more quickly. And he's a hand trap. He protects your Pendulum monsters from battle, so it's good. And he's a Perform Pal, so you can search it with Pendulum Sorcerer. 2 Minotaurus. He's literally one of the best normal summons of the deck, because he's a Dark Pendulum. I'm not using the Supreme King Dark Worm in this build, but you could use the Supreme King Dark Worm to add scales as well. But I think he's one of the best normal summons, because Supreme King Dark Rebellion is so freaking broken. So he's one of the best. And 2 Performer Pal Pendulum Sorcerer to add all those Performer Pals from your deck to your hand, and he is also a low scale. He is a scale 2. That's it for the doubles. For singles, we have Odd Eyes Lancer, just 1, because you can summon this from hand, deck, or graveyard. 1 Phantom Dragon. I've seen people use 2. Sometimes I've even seen 3. I think that's incorrect. You really don't need this card that much, because when you Pendulum Summon him, you can do 1200 damage for each Odd Eyes card in your Pendulum Zone, so you could do 24 damage. If you attack directly, that's 49 damage, but you only get that effect if you Pendulum Summon him. You have to watch out for that. If you summon him with Arc Pendulum, he doesn't get his effect. We got CNK Magician to summon Odd Eyes Raging Dragon, and Odd Eyes Mirage Dragon to protect your Odd Eyes monster once per turn. You're rarely going to use that effect. You pretty much just have him because he's a high scale. Same thing goes for Unicorn. Like, you're just going to use him because he is a high scale. Like, other singles we have 1 Performer Pal Odd Eyes Synchron. This card is absolutely broken. You can just go into any of your synchros with this. Make a level 8 with this, or level 7s with this in Persona, or Odd Eyes Light Phoenix. For the rest of the singles, we have 1 Noble Dragon. This could be Odd Eyes Saber Dragon, or a Dark Hole, anything you want to use. I just like using this guy because it's a level 3, you can lower Odd Eyes level and synchro summon. I've always liked this, but you don't really have to use it. And 1 Odd Eyes Light Phoenix Performer Pal, because he's a Performer Pal. You can search it with Pendulum Sorcerer, and he's a low scale, so he's really good to have. And that's about the monsters. I have, I think, 26 monsters. Like, I have a ton of monsters. And for the spells, I have triple Sky Iris and triple Terraforming. Sky Iris is the heart and soul of the deck, and I know this could be bricking your hand, so you might not want to prefer not to use 3 Terraformings, but like, this card you really want this card in your hand as soon as possible. This card really, I'd rather have multiple copies of this than not to have it at all. This card is actually one of the best cards in the entire deck. Like, your deck is so much faster with this card. We have a triple Spiral Flame Strike to add your Arc Pendulum or Pendulum Dragon, or to simply destroy cards on the field. Two Wavering Eyes. I think 2 is really good because you don't want multiple copies of this in your hand. And side decking this is stupid, and you really, like, I'd rather main deck this than side deck it, because you could just destroy your scales to add Astrograph to special summon, and then you add Arc Pendulum. So this card's actually really good. And Duelist Alliance 2, because you need a card in your Pendulum Zone, and you can only use this once per turn, so it's bricky. Like, you don't want multiple copies of this in your starting hand. And 1 Odd Eyes Fusion, because this card is a Destiny Draw. This is one of the best cards you could actually ask for. And that's it for the spells. No traps, like a 40 card deck. And now off to the extra deck. I have, for the Synchros, I have 1 Odd Eyes Meteor Burst, 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon, 1 Supreme King Clearwing, and 1 Psyframe Lord Omega. You can also use Ignister in this build, but these are the 2 best level 8s I think you could use now. And these are the best level 7s that goes good in this deck. So those are the 4 Synchros. Like, many people are even using less Synchros, but those are the 4 Synchros I'm using. For the fusions, 1 Odd Eyes Vortex and 1 Starving Venom Supreme King. Many people use 2 of this. You really don't need 2 of this. Like, this is really good at 1, because you could spam this if you want. This affects once per turn, but you could spam this if you want, so it's best just using 1, because once you summon this, if it's destroyed with Arc Pendulum, you could just bring him back with the graveyard. Like, you could literally spam this. And that's it for the fusions, just 2 of them. And for the Xyz, 1 Supreme King Dragon Rebellion. Do a ton of damage with this with the 2 Minotauruses. We got 1 Red Eyes Flare Metal, 2 Absolute, because he's absolutely broken. I'm sorry, that was bad. That's horrible. I'm sorry. But this guy, like, he's really broken. Like, you could, if you link summon with this, you could bring out your link and special summon Vortex from your extra deck, or bring out Raging Dragon, or you can bring out any Odd Eyes card from your extra deck, and you can also summon links with this. You can negate attacks to special summon from your graveyard or hand, and he doesn't target to negate attacks, so that's another thing. And 1 Odd Eyes Raging Dragon. Like, you might not see this often, but once you summon this and pull off his effect, like, it's pretty much over. You're gonna win if you do that. And for the links, Heavy Metal Foes, Electromite. Honestly, if I could run the second one, if I had the second one, I would use the second one. But with 1's perfectly fine. The deck runs perfect with 1. You really don't need the second one, but the second one would be more insurance. I know he's not budget friendly. I was actually lucky enough to pull this, but you really don't need 3. Like, you could use 2, but with 1's perfectly fine. 2 Decode Talker, because I think this is the best Link 3 you could go into. You might not even summon this guy much, but you could 1-up him with the Electromite after you draw a card, search, and Pendulum Summon and all that bullcrap. So, Decode Talker, and 1 Saryuya Skull Dread, because this card is really good. This card, I think it should go, because this card is amazing. You could do your giant extra deck plays with this, and you could draw 4 cards. This card's so freaking insane. And side deck, I really don't side deck. I really don't side deck, because I think that's really a dick move. Like, if you can't win with your deck, then you shouldn't side deck. But if they're gonna side deck against you, let's be real. What they're gonna side deck against you is Anti-Spell Fragrance. So triple Heavy Storm Duster, triple MSTs, triple Twin Twisters. I have it, it's just I'm lazy, I don't want to get it out. It's in my binder. triple share ride because, you know, invoke search a lot, odd eye search a lot, and true Dracos search somewhat. So like draw a card for every search. Like this is actually good. You could side out your Noble Dragon and stuff like that. One Vector Pendulum for the mirror match, or for Magician Pendulums, and one Dark Hole if you fight against decks with unbreakable fields. So that's pretty much it. Like I really don't side deck, so I don't have a full 15 side deck. So yeah. And well, thank you for watching, guys. I hope you liked this video and this deck, because this deck was one of my favorites back in college. I hope you liked this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. This is Chaos Gates, and it is now your move.
And now you're gone, and nothing makes this seem more wrong. The memory of your face keeps dragging.